My name is Eduardo Perez. I'm an associate professor in the Ingram School of Engineering in the Industrial Engineering program. And in this presentation, I'm going to talk briefly about my experience at Texas State University in terms of leveraging internal and external resources to build a funding portfolio. So I'm going to talk about what it means for me, my personal opinion. What is a research enterprise, which is typically how I see my research. And this research enterprise has three components: high quality publications, mentoring good students, and research funding. And then at the bottom, I have a very important part of it, which is not necessarily a component, but is connected to these three components, is having a strong network. One thing that I want to mention before moving to the next slide, in which I'm going to touch in each one of these components, is that Texas State University provides resources for all these three components. Like high quality publications, we have a lot of resources that can help you improve the way you write, and so on. Mentoring good students, you can find opportunities for mentoring students and also to get mentorship. And research funding, Texas State University provide multiple opportunities for you to get internal funding, such as the REP and the MERCH funding. So those are things that you should know about and you should try to take advantage of. So high quality publications, this is very important. Here I have a lot of information, but what's more important about this is that you have to publish good papers. Publishing is important because when you try to submit a proposal, the only document that the reviewer will be using to evaluate your capability is the CV. So the CV should show a good list of papers and good papers that are targeting that specific funding agency. And what I mean by that is the funding, if you're looking to apply for funding at NIH, you should try to target papers for publication in journals that publish research funded by NIH. Same thing for NSF and other agencies. So as I mentioned, network is very important. So you should try to build a strong network. You can start with your PhD committee and ask for help, so they can connect you with people that are relevant in your research community. Use conference to expand your collaboration network. Volunteer in professional societies. That in terms of publication can help you meet these journal editors, and that can make a difference between a paper getting rejected or accepted. Because if the journal editor knows about your work and so on, that can help you get papers published. Agencies are important, that you can get network with agencies, because these are sometimes they provide you the data for the research, and that translates into good publications. And also try to connect with the community so you can state in the papers that your research is relevant, it has an impact. Journal selection, make sure that you select papers that are journals that are respected by your peers. As I mentioned already, that target the funding agency. So if you're targeting in the future NIH, that you get papers published in PubMed. If you're targeting in NSF, you're targeting those journals that are commonly used for papers within that, let's say, directory in NSF. And collaboration is important for you to maybe have co-PIs or collaborating papers that are not necessarily led by you. The pipeline is very important. You should keep at least 3 papers in the pipeline. That's my personal opinion. that helps you make sure that every year you get at least one paper published, but you want to target more than that. Um, and I'm talking about your own papers, but you can also get published by collaborating with other people. So make sure that you keep a balance. You don't want to get all collaboration papers, so you don't want to get all PI papers. You want to get a balance. Make sure that you involve your students in the writing, so you don't have to do all the writing. If you find a good student that can write you papers, then you're lucky. But make sure that if that's not the case, that you can mentor them from the beginning so you can start writing papers with your students. Mentoring of good students. So this is connected with what I just mentioned. A strong network is important. Why is important? Because if people know about your research inside or outside the university, they can recommend students to join your research enterprise, to join your research lab. This has happened to me many times at Texas State University, that person that is in charge, let's say, of recruitment or mentoring or counseling students, they learn about the student interest and they recommend them to go talk to me. And then based on their interest, I might get them to work in my lab. So having a strong network is important for the recruitment of good students. Also, if you are able to have a network outside the university in which you can place students after graduation, those students that are getting jobs right away and they can talk to other students will join your research lab because they want to pursue that same track that other students, other successful students have pursued. They want to replicate that. So that gives you an opportunity also to recruit other students. Student selection, you want to select good students. My advice is to wait until students have taken at least a class with you, one class with you. Funding should be only for students capable of doing the research work. If you find a good student, find time to spend with him or her. Good students can produce, and this is again my personal experience, 3 to 5 times more than an average student. So if you find a good student, make sure that you spend time with that student and to help the students to be productive at the end. That will help you. Pipeline is also important. Students graduate, so you want to find students before the good students graduate so they can help you mentor the new students before they leave. So you can continue, you have that pipeline of papers, you have that pipeline of students always in your research enterprise. And then finally, we have the research funding. A strong network is important. It helps in many ways. Letters of support are very important. Sometimes if they're familiar with your work, they will provide supplemental funding. Co-PIs, they can become co-PIs. They can provide data and resources. Make sure that these could be your reviewers. And if they know about your work, then once they start evaluating the work that you're proposing, they will know already about it. Peers will talk about your work and connect you with funding opportunities. This is, again, another thing that has happened with me at Texas State University, that by letting people know about my research, they will see a funding opportunity that maybe was not published to everybody. They say, okay, Eduardo Perez is doing research in healthcare. And this funding opportunity looks like something that will match what he's doing. So they forward me that opportunity. And I've been getting funded by just applying to a funding opportunity that a colleague shared with me. So keep people informed. I mean, people that are close to you at the university and people that are not necessarily close to you, find a way to talk about your research or to present your research or to discuss your research. So that's why those workshops that are prepared by the university are very good. So you can go work on, let's say, on a proposal, but at the same time, you're talking to your peers about the research that you are doing. And then the people will know about your work. So it's important for you to cultivate that network, stay in contact. Once you start that relationship, don't forget about that agency, or even if you stop working in a particular project, stay connected. You never know, in the future you might get an opportunity to do research with them, and if you already have that relationship in place, it's not going to be very hard for you to establish a collaboration. So cultivate your network, stay in contact. Funding selection, be realistic. Start with small amounts and build a reputation, then publish the results. Take advantage of these opportunities by the university, the REP and the MERGE grants. Those are very good for you to build a pilot and then publish something and then go for something bigger, maybe outside the university, or find some collaborators that say, okay, this work is good. Maybe we can work on a larger proposal based on the pilot, on your pilot study. So start with small amounts, build a reputation, publish results, and then move forward. Go to NSF, go to Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, NIH. Those are things that are something that those are things that we can achieve, but we had to build those building blocks. Start work from the base, and then you start increasing and improving, and you start making progress in building this research enterprise. Make sure that you know what your strengths are. If you're applied research, if your research is more theory, or you're focusing on education, so those are your strengths. Make sure that you know what your strengths are and target funding opportunities based on that. Publication records, make sure that your publication record matches the funding agency. So if you're targeting NIH, that you are looking for a funding opportunity, let's say related to public health, and you haven't published a single paper in public health, then that might not be the best opportunity for you. So that has to be connected with your profile, because people are going to look for that. So if you are applying to funding, your CV has to show that you have done research in that area and that you have published some stuff already. And again, start with your dissertation. Don't go crazy and start a new research in your first year. You have to build from your dissertation, and then start exploring as you move forward. Publication records, okay, intellectual merit. Make sure that you spend time defining what is the intellectual merit of your research. So what that means is what is new, what is different. Do a good literature review, and then separate yourself from what has been published and say, okay, this is important, this is different, and this is the impact. And then pipeline, as we did for the papers and the students, you want to keep a pipeline of proposals. So write, learn how to write proposals. Use the university resources. They provide a lot of resources. Make sure that you use those. Learn how to write proposals. Find mentors. Writing proposals is not easy. So there's a lot of work, and I tell this to my peers. When you look for funding, that if you get the funding, you basically got paid already for writing the proposal, because it's a lot of work writing a proposal. So you're basically doing two works or two jobs: writing the proposal, and then if the proposal gets accepted, then doing the work that was proposed in the research proposal. So it takes time to write a good proposal. So make sure that you have everything in place, that you have your papers, you have some papers related to the work that you want to propose, that you have your collaborators, that you have a way to get the data, that you have a way to show some impact in the community, that your research is going to make a difference, and that you have the letter collaborations and everything that we just discussed, that research enterprise must show in your funding proposal. So if you're a new faculty member, extend your dissertation. So that should be your first goal when you're submitting a proposal. Can you go for an NSF career award? Collaboration. I mean, if you're in a department, make sure that you understand what your other faculty members in your department are doing. Find people that have been successful in getting funding and try to see a way to collaborate with those people. That could be a good way to get started. So if you have a senior faculty member in your department that is getting funded, and you can find a way to collaborate with that person, then again, these are things that you need to build from bottom to top. It's not like you're going to show to the office and say, okay, I want to write a proposal with you. That's not the case. You have to find an area in which you can propose something. You say, you have done this work. This is something that I think I can work on that can help move your research in this direction. Do you think this is something that we can work on together? And so on. At least 2 proposals in the pipeline, 1 PI and 1 co-PI. That's the minimum. Like if you're targeting NSF, there's about 10% chance of getting funded. So you need to submit at least 10 proposals to get 1 NSF grant. So that's the type of work that that sometimes you have to put on in order to get funding. So I hope this presentation is useful. And then if you have questions, I will let Evie Gonzalez share with you my email, and you feel free to contact me if I can help. Thank you.